via WebEx. Senator Warren.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you to our witnesses for being here. Well, President Biden has expressed some concerns about the need, the affordability, and the safety of the Trump administration's nuclear weapons policy, and for good reason. The previous administration's modernization plans, including items like a new sea-launched cruise missile and a low-yield warhead. Like any new administration, the president's team is taking some time to conduct its own review. So, Admiral Richard, you're the commander of U.S. Strategic Command. Whose job is it to determine the nuclear policy of the United States? Your job or the president's job?
Senator, it is the president's job. I am obligated to provide my best military advice.
I appreciate that. Do you agree that the new administration should be allowed to conduct its own review and that it shouldn't feel obligated or pressured to rubber stamp the previous administration's plans?
Ma'am, I absolutely agree with that. I also request an opportunity to make sure that that review, and in fact, I would broaden it. I again state that I think it is a mistake to think of deterrence in pieces, that nuclear is somehow separate from conventional, is somehow separate from space and cyber. You have to look at all of that, and I'd ask that it be fully threat informed and that I have an opportunity to provide the operational implications of potential policy choices.
Okay. But you're going to do the operational part here, and the president does the policy part. I appreciate your saying this because you made some comments early in January that puzzled and frankly concerned me on this score. On January 5th, after President Trump had lost his bid for re-election, you told some reporters that the purpose of a forthcoming Biden administration review of nuclear weapons policy should be, quote, validation that we like the strategy that we have. It also sounded like to me that you were saying that there was no reason to change course. You stated, quote, this nation has had basically the same strategy dating back to the Kennedy administration, end quote. So now it's your job to provide input and to recommend options to the president and the secretary if you're asked. But that doesn't mean making public comments to try to box in the president's decision making. I understand that you believe you're operating well within the scope of your responsibilities, but I'm concerned and I want a commitment from you that you're not going to infringe on or undermine the administration's review. Do I have your commitment on that?
Senator, you absolutely do. And my reference to our strategy was not in relation to any one administration. I also said I can trace the lineage of our current strategy back to the Kennedy administration. The nation can have any strategy that it wants, and then that leads to a commensurate need for a stack of capabilities, policies, and postures to execute that strategy. I would just like to make sure that the nation understands the risks it's taking in those decisions.
And I appreciate that you will make that risk clear so that the president and the secretary can work together to make a decision on this. You know, we're currently spending $44.5 billion a year on nuclear weapons. And I know that Stratcom likes spending that money, but I don't. The purpose of the ongoing review is to, quote, reduce the role of nuclear weapons in our defense strategy, end quote. I agree with that goal, and I think it is incompatible with that staggeringly high level of spending. Every administration makes strategic decisions about our force structure and modernization, and when it comes to nuclear weapons, those decisions carry tremendous weight. As Stratcom commander, your role is to support the U.S. nuclear doctrine that is set by the leaders elected to grapple with those decisions, not by military officials alone. So I look forward to seeing the results of the administration's review, and I know you'll swiftly implement whatever they determine. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.